In this video, I'm going to show you how to read Airbnb performance analytics properly, not just what these charts show, but what they actually mean and what actions you should take as a host. Most hosts look at occupancy, nightly rate, and cancellations in isolation, and that is where mistakes happen. Airbnb analytics only makes sense when you read them as a system. So let me quickly show you how you can access your analytics first, and then we will go deep into each of those sections. Once you're logged into your Airbnb account, you will click on these three bars on the top right, and then there you will see Insights option. Click on that, and by default, it will land you on the Quality tab, but the real analytics of your listing are under Occupancy and Rates and Conversion. So let's start with Occupancy and Rates. This is the Occupancy Rate screen. The first thing most hosts fixate on is the big percentage at the top, average occupancy rate, and that is already the first mistake. Occupancy rate simply tells you how many nights were booked out of the nights that were available. It does not tell you if you made good money. It does not tell you if your pricing was smart. It does not tell you if demand was strong or weak. Look just below the headline number. Average nights booked, average nights blocked, average unbooked nights, average check-ins. That is where the real story starts. If you see high blocked nights, your low occupancy may be self-inflicted. Calendar blocks, minimum stays, or manual holds. And if unbooked nights are high, that is either a pricing problem or a demand problem. And if unbooked nights are high, that's either a pricing problem or a demand problem. And you don't fix those the same way. And if check-ins are very low but length of stay is short, you're working harder for less revenue. A lot of hosts panic when occupancy drops and immediately discount. But occupancy going down with stable or rising nightly rates can actually be healthy. See, occupancy without context is actually meaningless. And now that we know how full the calendar is, the next question is, are bookings sticking or falling apart? And that brings us to the cancellation rate, which is the next tab here. This screen shows overall cancellation rate, and this number matters more than most hosts realize. Cancellation rate tells you how much of your booked occupancy is real versus temporary. A high cancellation rate means your occupancy is inflated. You may look busy, but you're not secure. And compare the solid line in the previous period, and if the cancellations are rising while occupancy stays flat, you are attracting low commitment guests. And if you see high cancellation rates, they usually come from overly flexible cancellation policies, heavy discounting, attracting deal hunters, or poor expectation setting in the listing. And the fix is not turn off flexibility and go over to a stricter cancellation policy. The fix is pricing flexibility properly and make non-refundable or stricter options genuinely attractive. And many hosts think that cancellations are just normal on Airbnb. They are not. High cancellation rates are usually a pricing and policy signal, not just a guest behavior. And once we understand how many bookings actually survive, the next thing we need to know is how long are guests staying. For that, I will click on length of stay, and this screen shows average length of stay, and it directly affects your workload, cleaning costs, and profitability. And a lower average length of stay means more check-ins, more cleaning, more operational overhead. And don't get me wrong, a longer length of stay doesn't automatically mean more revenue, but it often means better margin. And if you see your length of stay is falling, check if you have over-enabled short stays. Review your weekend pricing versus weekdays, and review your minimum stay rules during peak demand. And on the other hand, if the length of stay is rising, make sure your pricing doesn't penalize longer bookings, and review weekly discounts very carefully. And many hosts think that longer stays always equal discount. It is actually not true. Longer stays reduce turnover cost. They don't automatically require cheaper pricing. And now that we know how long guests stay, let's look at how much they actually pay per night. For that, I will click on nightly rate. This is your average nightly rate, and it is one of the most understood metrics. This is not your advertised price. This is what guests actually paid after your discount, your promotions, and length of stay adjustments. If night rate is rising while occupancy falls slightly, that can be a good trade-off. And if nightly rate is falling while occupancy rises, you're filling with discount, not demand. Always judge nightly rates together with occupancy and your length of stay. Hosts often celebrate high occupancy without noticing their average daily rate collapsing. And that's how you will end up fully booked and underpaid. Now, let's talk about timing when guests are actually booking. For that, I will click on conversion and booking lead time. This screen tells you how far in advance guests are booking your place. Lead time shows planning behavior, not interest. So short lead markets require different pricing than long lead markets. And if booking lead time is shortening, don't discount early. Keep prices firm further out and adjust closer to arrival. And if lead time is extending, open your calendar earlier than you would usually do and protect peak dates sooner. Like if you have a busy period coming, like a Christmas holidays or the end of the year holidays or anything special in your area, protect those peak dates sooner before they go. And avoid last minute panic pricing. Okay. Many hosts think that last minute bookings mean they need lower prices. Often it means the opposite. Demand exists, but availability is scarce. Now, let's look at guest loyalty, which is the returning guests screen. This shows the repeat customers you get. On Airbnb, returning guest rate are usually low, especially for short-term stays, because Airbnb shows them hundreds of other options every time they log in. But this metric is more about experience quality than revenue optimization. If your returning guests are near zero, that's normal for touristy markets. Focus on reviews, not on loyalty. And if returning guests are meaningful in your chart, keep your pricing consistent, avoid extreme volatility, and protect availability for your repeat guests. And many hosts expect Airbnb to behave like hotels with loyalty programs. Airbnb is demand-driven, not loyalty-driven. Now let's move into visibility. Are people even seeing your listing? For that, I will click on Views. Now, this is where you see how many times your listing page was viewed. Page view tells you listing appeal after search, not search visibility itself. If page views are low, your cover photo may be weak, your pricing may be uncompetitive, your title may not be clear. And if you see page views are high but bookings are low, pricing structure is usually the issue. Cancellation terms may be too strict, or your cancellation fee or extra charges may be hurting conversions. So often hosts blame the algorithm, but most of the time it's the offer, not the platform. And finally, one of the most underrated signal on Airbnb, which is the wishlist edition. This screen shows how often guests save your listing. Wishlists indicate intent without any urgency. If guests like your place but not enough yet to book, they will wishlist it. Okay. High wishlist edition with low booking usually means pricing is slightly too high, dates aren't flexible, and guests are waiting to compare. And that is where targeted price adjustments, not blanket discounts, work best. And many hosts ignore this metric entirely. Wishlist additions are early stage demand signals. This is how Airbnb analytics should be read. Occupancy tells you how full you are. Cancellation tells you how real those bookings are. Your length of stay tells you your workload versus margin. And nightly rates tell you pricing quality. Your lead time tells you when to adjust. And views tell you if your listing converts. And wishlist tells you your future demand. Treat these screens as a system, not isolated graphs, and you will make calmer, smarter pricing decisions without unnecessary discounting. And that brings me to the end of this quick video. I really hope you find this video useful. Have a wonderful day wherever you are. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel for more no-nonsense Airbnb hosting tutorials, and I will see you in the next one.